What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the second and most recent album by hip hop supergroup Slaughterhouse. Basically, this product is called Welcome to Our House, and it came out in the summer of 2012. So the theme of this particular product here is this is kind of a good heralded type product within the pitch behind it. This was originally on Eminem's Shady Records label. As far as this first going to happen, this is the next big thing that Eminem particularly helmed after a pretty explosive late 2000s and early 2010s. Now, Eminem took off the year 2012. He didn't drop an album or anything like that, but he was affiliated with Royce da 5'9", who is a part of like the four set here of Slaughterhouse, in addition to Royce da 5'9", Joe Budden, Joel Ortiz, and then Crooked Eye, as far as this pitch can have, made this super group within the pitch. Now, Slaughterhouse originally started as a super group back in like 2009, late 2000s type fare within the pitch behind it. But this particular album caught the attention of Eminem in like the early 2010s, and that was the fare behind it. So, like I was saying, within the pitch, this is the particular product that Eminem was working on throughout 2012 as he took that particular year off between helming this project and kind of helping out with Skylar Gray's 2013 album. It's just the pitch behind it. Within a certain sense, I had kind of talks with Jackal Goldkick and such about this back in the day, that he kind of felt like this is one of the most recent things Eminem had did with like his prime era between like the late 90s about these times. And nowadays, I would have to say within the pitch behind it, I'm starting to appreciate a lot more further Eminem within those pitches. Like I said, I did give Eminem's 2024 album a 10 out of 10 within some of those type fares. I do see like Revival somewhat being haphazard, and his 2018 album Kamikaze kind of being here and there, or at least not consistently kind of having the longevity behind it. But I would say within the pitch that this is another primary Eminem helm type product within the pitch, and this is going to get a classic score just within the fair behind it. I feel like in certain senses this is kind of like a minor Eminem album within the pitch. It's not as full bound kind of an Eminem album, but it has enough of his affiliation between the production type fair. He helps out with a lot of beats on here, helps out with some background vocals, the occasional hook, and even a verse on one of these songs as far as this pitch can happen. Skylar Gray's on here a number of times like she normally is on Eminem albums. So it's just in the pitch. It feels like a pseudo kind of bad meets evil product, also with Royce da 5'9" usually being in like one of the primary type spots just within the pitch behind. Now it's kind of the constant thing about this particular group here, Slaughterhouse, is just the fact that it's a good album within a sense, but the casual appeal may be a little bit nash just because the sense I don't remember these songs really charting that heavily. It was usually kind of more hardcore rap within that particular type territory, just because none of these particular folks managed to really get like a humongous type smash on their own solo type tip within the fair. So it's kind of the concept. I feel like the context behind it was at least seemed like it was attempted to kind of get Royce da 5'9" some spotlight, not like the other members did, but it's just kind of the concept that Joe Budden was kind of one hit wonder around this time. Joel Ortiz was kind of off to the wayside, didn't have as much full bound kind of appeal, and Crooked Eye was just kind of a more lyricist that was just kind of more hardcore type territory. So it seemed like the biggest cat amongst these four was probably Royce da 5'9", him being the second banana, not so much full blown, but just kind of the extra cat, the player two within is kind of the extra cat, the player two, within a sense of Eminem's Bad Meets Evil product that came out in the summer of 2011. So it's just in the pitch as far as saying it's a good type aspect. It's like a good follow up to some of that type fare. Classic type appeal, has a very dark aspect, very drowsy type album, but just has some blitzing type appeal. This is kind of like a spin off. I'd say the mixture between this product just combines like the three Eminem albums from like the late 2000s and early 2010s. It has traces of Relapse on here with some horror type tinges, some psycho type tinges about it. Definitely that manicness, Royce da 5'9", and some of these folks do a pretty good job with that. Joe Budden, Crooked Eye, Joel Ortiz do a pretty good job, like that psychopathic, kind of Slim Shady type fare. It has touches of recovery on here with some of these pop rap type moments, just stuff like B.O.B. from 2010, Eminem from 2010, New Boys from 2009, 2010, folks like that, Deuce and Hollywood Undead, some of those type fares that I have to say. And then it also has leftover traces within a relative type sense of the bite-sized kind of album that was Bad Meets Evil's Hell, the sequel. So it's just within the picture, just getting those late 2000s, early 2010s, just the sense of getting those late 2000s, early 2010s Eminem albums that just combines those particular aspects and makes a pretty good behemoth of a project within the aspect here. So it's just within the pitch. The thing about this particular album is just the fact that I was originally going to review this album way back in like 2015, 2016. I had fucked with this album for a good while. In the initial formation of Acid Roots, this is one of the albums I was listening to pretty much daily within the pitch behind it. Really thoroughly enjoyed this project within the fair. So I was getting into more folks just within some of those types of senses that originally I was going to review this back in those particular days, but it just always got put off the wayside. I was going to review this project back in 2022, 2023, 2024 also, but it just always kept getting pushed aside. So I finally decided to get to reviewing this particular product just within the PL, just wrapping some of this up. Now, the supposed sequel, there was going to be an album called Glass House that was supposed to come out in 2015. That would have been a real dynamite. That definitely would have been a real dynamite type product to have gotten just within the fair behind it. Definitely would have been in line for that one as far as those fairs going to happen. But I think they might have actually completed it, but it was just always unreleased, kind of similar to some of those type products by Eminem, like Relapse 2 and King Mathers and Dr. Dre's Detox, some of those type fairs. I think it probably was completed. I don't know if it's ever been released or there's any type format to where you can find the songs that were on it. But I think obviously the concept of like Eminem in 2015 and like Royce da 5'9", Joe Budden, Joel Ortiz, Crooked Eye, some of these type folks, 2014, 2015, to see that this would have been like a supersized version of this particular album. But then I do remember them saying when they released tidbits about this album on hip hop websites, so they basically said that Eminem was not going to be on there as much. So this is kind of the fair. He did particularly helm this one, but this would have been the pitch as far as questioning how Glass House would turn out. But that was a canceled album. Maybe it'll come out one day. Maybe something like that will happen. But this is a classic here. It's simple enough to say out of the 18 songs in this project, there's really only one song I don't recommend. So it's simple enough to say that this album gets a 10 out of 10. This Tour de Force, real classic album. I feel like this is a banner album, especially in a hardcore sense out of the early 2010s. This is definitely a staple and a good look. This is like a good kind of itinerary for something that probably needs to kind of happen within the sense of like how to do like a 2010s related type album within the pitch behind it. Just as much damn near as banner as Recovery, just without the number one singles with like a Rihanna single or something like that, like Not Afraid or Love the Way You Lie, some of those type pitches that I had to say. But it does have some pop rap grabs on here, but I just think the fact that these names were just not big enough to really warrant like the concept of getting this to like the commercial standpoint. But they definitely tried, but it's just in the pitch, it just didn't have quite the mic to be able to do it. But they definitely had the lyricism, they definitely had the beats and the overall song composition. It's just kind of the fact that it just kind of felt like that just didn't have the anchor as far as being able to do it. But even with Eminem, Skylar Grey, some of those type folks affiliation, it just didn't manage to pull it off. It kind of was underwhelming, but the concept of it is still a classic. So there were 5 singles out this product, so they definitely attempted it. The first single is Hammer Dance. It's a real excellent song. It's like a shrill and sparky kind of night venue buzzing kind of get here, just get hella lit. I'd have to say with this song, this nice corn sample about this particular song samples the song Falling Away from May, which is a hit song off their Issues album. And the song shreds pretty damn well within the pitch. So it's an excellent type concept being able to get this one here. Just real shrill and haunting, some horrorcore type fare. Really feels like something Relapse would kind of have within that particular pitch. Something Eminem would have done with Relapse, some of those particular type fares. It's real shrill and gassy within the pitch behind it. Just typical kind of mess hall type noise within some of that type fare. Just really the concept. I like a lot of the creepiness of this particular product. Just real kind of just King Gordy-esque and Bizarre-esque type frolicking within the pitch of just like more dark driven type formats within the fare behind it. So it definitely has that swirl that if you like albums like Eminem's Relapse and Tech Nine's KOD, some of those type pitches, Bizarre and King Gordy with some of their darker type moments within some of that horrorcore type flash. It's a good concept of kind of having like some commercial horrorcore within a sense. So good type tone. My Life is the second single. This has CeeLo Green on the hook. This is a good example of kind of how this is a pretty solid example of how to do a pop rap type song within the pitch. CeeLo was a good look around this particular time, around the early 2010s when he was getting songs like Forget You or Fuck You as it's called within certain senses within the aspect, but just didn't quite have like the full widespread kind of stationary within the pitch. It's a good song, but it just didn't cross over its full bound like I was saying with this album. But it's like a nice basic kind of early 2010s EDM lick makeshift venue hop to kind of get here. I definitely say within the pitch behind it, just SFW and temperate kind of recreation. I'd say about this one. So it's just kind of the concept. It's kind of the pitch of having some makeshift kind of club heat just within the pitch behind it. Just kind of the concept of stepping out a bit, but just within the format of a little bit more healthy oriented within the fare behind it. Just kind of basic kind of groove, not so much one that where you get shit faced out of your mind. Not so much a standard kind of one where you get shit faced out of your mind, that particular type fare, but just the concept of having some step out, socializing, but just kind of in a more sense of just more straightforward and composed about it. So it's this good type tone. It's a good, nice one to marinate pitches like that in like a more ambient type sense. It's more kind of laid back, just kind of here and there, just kind of vanilla frolic as far as this pitch can happen. It's a good type song within the pitch. You like the SFW-ness about that one. Just standard, feels like a Maroon 5 song, some of that type pitch, or Pitbull in like a more healthy sense, some of those type ones. Good concept. Throw It Away is a nice single. This is a Swiss Beats beat, real excellent type one on here. It's like a fierce and harrowing kind of dance club blitz to kind of get with the East Coast flavor. I'd have to say about this one. This is like this song is like particularly like a Swiss Beats KO. I'd have to say within those pitches. So good, excellent concept. Goes with the 3 out of the 5 singles on this particular album have like the blitz. If you like Hammer Dance and Throw That, both of those particular ones, I'd say The third one that's just like that is Throw It Away. So it's just within the pitch. These are the fiery type ones that are just more kind of within a hellish, kind of more horrorcore type aspect, something more in like the Relapse type vibe within those pitches. So it's just more kind of just frenetic type fashion. It's a little bit more schizo type craziness. So it's just kind of a concept for that. More typical, like their name, their super group name, Slaughterhouse within the fairs. Goodbye is the fourth single. And this is another makeshift one similar to My Life, but just less for the dance club. It's like a tugging kind of rainy day makeshift grab it, I'd say here. Good pop rap kind of appeal. Goes with My Life, just more errands in mind within those pitches. So it's just more standard commerce, just a rainy day type aspect. It is something for like more kind of standard push within the aspect behind it. Just more typical kind of Monday, Tuesday type makeshift within the fair behind it. It's kind of the fashion of like a more, not necessarily emo, but just kind of aspect of just a little bit more moody within the pitch, like that standard makeshift just within the aspect behind it. It's something that Deuce would kind of do, one of those type ones, or just folks like that, just kind of more kind of like more emotive kind of pop rap artists out of the early 2010s, I'd have to say. So this is kind of the fashion behind it. And Throw That's a nice fifth single as far as this pitch can happen. Now, all five of these singles hit pretty damn heavily within the pitch. It's kind of constant. This album definitely needed to do way better than that particularly did. But it's just kind of constant. Just hit like a ton of bricks, but it just kind of had the concept behind it. And this has Eminem on here, pretty excellent aspect, but he's just kind of on the chorus and like some helping vocals on here. And the thing about Eminem being on this project is not like you're going to get an Eminem verse if you're thinking that this is just littered with Eminem verses, kind of like he did with 50 Cent. Obi Trice. It doesn't really have that, but just his affluence is kind of on here. It's just the effect that this is kind of the hands-on type of approach that Eminem needs to do with like his current Shady Records artists from like the 2020s and late 2010s. That I'd say is this kind of concept. This is a very hands-on type one where the Eminem affiliation is pretty strong on here. So this is within the pitch, even if he doesn't drop verses and shred these songs with these four lyricists on here. It's just a good type pitch. He does at least do that once on here, but it's just a concept. It's not as super frequent, but still the Eminem affiliation is really a good concept. Good luck for this album. So Throw That's a nice one. It's like a dark kind of mess hall Jones kind of get here. It just feels like a Relapse leftover about this particular one. It's just more social within those aspects. Relapse is kind of isolated, but this one's a little bit more social. The format of that particular kind of demonic kind of horrorcore-ness. This particular song's like a hit kind of cretinous hop as far as this first going to happen. This particular song really goes with like an excellent kind of 1-2 punch with Hammer Dance, and then it also goes pretty well with Throw It Away and some of those type ones. Coffin's another one that goes with some of these type ones on here. Plenty of these. The Silence and our hit one within some of those type fashions. So it just has a good sense for that. So just being able to say about this particular album, I'm reviewing the deluxe edition, which has 20 songs on there, and out of those 20, there's 2 skits and interludes. That narrows it down to 18. The only song out of the 18 songs that are left over on here that I don't recommend is just the one song Die. So just talk about that one, just the fashion behind that one. I did like where that one was kind of going, but it just took a little bit to start up within the fashion. Just didn't like the song composition as far as this one kind of went. It did have a pretty frenetic and kind of glaring, kind of paranoid type beat on here, but just had a lot of extra stuff on that particular song. I did like the pacing of it. Just felt like a pretty frenetic kind of commerce type one, or just some neighborhood kind of strolls within the pitch. It was just kind of the concept. This kind of a song that you would kind of skip around with as far as this pitch. Die is just kind of a song that you would skip portions of as far as this fair is going to happen, just kind of within the aspect of it. It had like, if the composition of the song had, where the beginning of the song had just been part of an interlude that was separate from the song, I probably would have recommended this one a lot further. I do like the frenetic kind of paranoia about this one, but just the composition of it was a little bit more cumbersome within the pitch. But this album still gets the 10 out of 10. 17 out of 18 classic type score, just a mammoth type album that just nails these aspects. 4 lyricists there that keep up with Eminem in a lot of senses that manage to do this. This really gives Royce da 5'9" some good time to shine. This might be in turn one of Royce da 5'9's just overall best albums. I feel like this particular composition, just this execution of how well Eminem helmed this, is just the pitch that this has to be one of Royce da 5'9's just overall best albums in terms of what he's particularly done. Now I realize nowadays more that the Allegory is a real excellent type one as well. I think there's other ones in there like Bad Meets Evil. The 2011 album's pretty damn good within some of those type pitches. I know there's other ones in there as far as those fairs going to happen. Probably like his 2016 album, some of those type ones. But I would say that this is definitely a banner album for Royce da 5'9" that's on par with albums like Relapse and like the Eminem Show by Eminem, some of those type pitches. But the other folks do excellently as well. It's definitely a good look for Joe Budden. Joe Budden had a pretty excellent kind of 2013 album within some of those type fairs. Definitely had some glitzy type appeal within that one that he just dropped a few months later. Joel Ortiz has like some good moments. I don't know his full bound about him, but Crooked Eye has some good moments as well. As this within the pitch. Crooked Eye's gotten like some Dr. Dre beats pitches like that. So this is within the appeal. But yeah, so nice ones on this particular album would be Coffin. This says Buster Rhymes on here. This is another good 1, 2, 3, 4 type punch with songs like Throw That, Throw It Away, and Hammer Dance. That I'd say is like a snarling kind of darkness frog to kind of get here. Once again goes with Hammer Dance and Throw That. I had to say, and this is just like a good dance floor smash. So it's just within the pitch as far as saying it's some real harrowing type ones within the pitch behind it, just real excellence within those fairs as far as I would kind of go. Flip a Bird is a quality one. It's like a neighborhood kind of in between sludge kind of get here, just a sleepy kind of drunken pastiming. So I'd say within those pitches, just some enjoyable kind of productiveness about this. So it's just kind of the concept, just more around the house standard songs like Flip a Bird are just more around the house type fare, just standard type push as far as those aspects going to happen. Just kind of the concept, but just a real kind of drunken type one. Just one for like a more night type aspect, just having some drink in your system, some of those type aspects of just getting some work done, being productive, but having the concept of just the enjoyment about it within the pitch behind. So it's a good type one for just that relative sludge, but this is pretty. I do like the overall tone and just pitch of this particular song. Rescue Me with Skylar Gray's a real nice one. It's like a glitzy but beleaguered kind of night step out to kind of get here. Just a ruffled week, I'd have to say, in terms of like the work pace or makeshift fare, but I'd say it's definitely like a buck the hardship kind of night flash kind of get within those tones. This is just some good trendy typeness kind of get within those aspects that like some further social step out when you think of songs like My Life, that same sort of fare within an SFW typeness. Just kind of the concept of just flip, just it's kind of giving some middle fingers up within the pitch behind it. Just kind of the concept of like, overcoming the concept. It's kind of a struggle type song, but it nails a particular vibe. This is not a cheesy type one or kind of one that this is trying to tell you to tough it out and turn the other cheek and have some grit. It's just kind of concept that manages to pull off the concept of bucking the trend as far as this pitch going to go. Asylum's one of the best songs on this album. I'd say definitely worth getting the deluxe edition for this. And on top of that, I recommend all four of the bonus songs on the deluxe. So it's easy enough to kind of get that one, especially nowadays. This is produced by Eminem. This is like a ghastly and piercing kind of psycho tune to kind of get here. Just a red hot kind of Eminem beat. I'd have to say needed way more of these. I'd have to say in particular, pretty loony lyricalness within this particular song. Eminem definitely needed to drop a verse on the song, do more than just helping out with the hook. I definitely think he would have shredded this particular song. Would have been a great look to see what he could have done with it. But the other four folks work on here pretty well. Excellent time to kind of get. Place to Be is a quality one that says B.O.B. on the hook. He was riding off his early 2010s type hits as far as those fairs going to happen. This is like a schizo kind of tore up dance floor jammer to kind of get within those aspects. This is a dark EDM flash, I'd have to say. Dark EDM flash, I'd have to say about this one. Just radio ready hook, I'd have to say from B.O.B. and the song bubbles pretty well. So it's just from the pitch as far as saying I would almost think that B.O.B. would have been more at home on like the other side song as far as this pitch can happen, but he does pretty good with Place to Be as far as those fairs can happen. Just a real nice one to kind of get tore up to within the pitch behind it. The deluxe edition really knocks this out of the park. It definitely, sometimes deluxe editions don't always nail it within the pitch, or you might get like a song, you might, like out of 3 songs, you may only get like 2 or something like that, and sometimes even 1 within the pitch when you get some of those type fairs, or you get 2 hit songs out of 4 within those fashions. But this is an excellent example of a deluxe that just nails it. Really bolstered album. The other side is a quality song within those pitches as well. It's like the other side is like a beleaguered kind of pop rap gem, I'd have to say, in like a darker sense. Definitely, this reminds me of like B.O.B. from like the 2010 days, The Adventures of Bobby Ray, some of those type pitches, and it's like some good makeshift malaise within those aspects. So it's just basically like the concept of like a B.O.B. type album, some sort of song like Airplanes, or like probably one like the Nothing on You, but just within a more definite kind of shrill and dark type sense within the pitch behind as far as those aspects going to go. Just kind of the concept, but just a good concept for that. And there are plenty of songs in this particular album that have that pop rap grab. It's just kind of the pitch. I just think most folks probably didn't recognize these rappers on the songs. I think maybe some folks might have been mildly kind of familiar within a sense of Royce da 5'9", but the rest of these folks just didn't have enough appeal within the tone behind it. They attempted it, but it's just kind of the pitch. But there are some moments. The other side's a nice example of that. Rescue Me is a nice example of that. Our House is a nice example of that, and like My Life is a nice example of that. Some of those I want, so they do attempt it. But speaking of Our House, one of the title tracks on here is like a moody and morose kind of recovery era revamp with like Skylar Grey, with like some good Skylar Grey icing. I'd have to say about this one. It's like some pop rap malaise. I'd have to say about this particular song. It's a pretty hot one to kind of get within those tones. So it's just good concept here. This is one of those type ones. There's not a super ton of the ones that try to bring it back to recovery within a pitch. I mean, it kind of like Recovery and Hell the Sequel are kind of similar within their pop rap fashion, especially because Hell the Sequel only had 2 singles, but it's just within the pitch as far as saying that typical kind of pop rap sludge. Songs like Love the Way You Lie and Lighter, some of those type pitches is kind of on here with songs like Our House and The Other Side and some of those type pitches. So it's a good type concept for that. Get Up is a nice one. It's like a bright city lights kind of step out. Reminds me of like Cameron and Kanye, some of those type folks. East Coast, this kind of more city type pizzazz about it. It's like a jazzy and starry kind of social spark to kind of get within those pitches about it. So it's just good type concept here. Definitely some ones would pretty much go in hand, and Get Up would go pretty much hand in hand with songs like My Life, some of those type fashions. Just a little bit more SFW bound, not full bound kind of SFW bound, but just kind of a pitch of just like a relative kind of optimistic type one. It feels a little bit more pep in your step within the pitch behind this. A good concept like some of that big type pizzazz that is some social kind of neighborhood jumps in the pitch. Not as much kind of horrorcore type sense, like a lot of this album within the fair, but just a little bit more of like a jazzy type fashion that just has like some of that glitz is something that like more rappers like Kid Cudi, Kanye West will kind of have within some of those type pitches. Cameron, folks like that. It's good type fare. Park It Sideways is a nice one as well. This is another pop rap grab to kind of get here. It's like a fizzy and driven kind of pop rap late 2000s promo throwback to kind of get within those pitches. Just feels ripped out of 2009. Definitely feels like mixtape heat. I'd have to say, and it's like a good hustle tune within some of those aspects. Now, some of these rappers, I don't know if every last one, I don't know if Joel Ortiz and Crooked I were mixtape rappers, but definitely Royce the 5'9" and Joe Budden had some of that particular type of pizzazz about it. So it's just good type concept for like that Dap Piff era, some of those type folks in particular, just that standard typeness that you would get from like a song that feels ripped off of Dream Chasers by Meek Mill or Yo Gotti type record, or just folks like that, Meek Mill, some of those type folks, if I didn't say him, folks like that in particular. It's typical type of zazz of the mixtape type fare. Frat House is a real excellent one as well. It's like a dismantled kind of house party supercharged noise to kind of get here. Just heavy set commotion. I definitely feel like about this one. It goes with the singles. I definitely feel like at least the dance club singles within the pitch. So this one definitely has some of that. It definitely has some of those heroin type aspects just within the freneticness of just how impactful it kind of is. So yeah, Frat House is definitely a pretty demonic type one within the pitch. Great one to get hella tore up to within the pitch behind it. Definitely some Red Cup type music, hella smoky, some of those type fares just in the pitch. Definitely like the song says, frat house type noises, fraternized college rounds pitches like that, sports bar, some of that type fare. Just a good concept to have some hella smoke with some of those particular type pitches. Definitely a good concept. Just feels like Mac Miller probably should have done a song like this, but it would have been a good type fashion to see an Eminem do a song like this as well, as far as what's first going to happen. Maybe he was a little bit old for this particular type song, but I look within the tone, still would have been a good concept to have some folks like him kind of do this. But the folks that are on the song particularly do it pretty well. Good surprise hit here. I think one of the last songs I haven't talked about within these fashions would be Walk of Shame, as far as this fair is going to happen. It's like a glitzy kind of dance floor lightning to kind of get within these aspects here. Just a trendy and alive. The song is trendy and alive, I'd have to say. Just reminds me of like a darker kind of Pitbull or LMFAO within those pitches. So it just feels like something, one of those type tunes like Fun or LMFAO or 303, Pitbull, some of those type folks within the pitch behind it. Just EDM type lick within the pitch behind it. It's a more kind of glamorous type fashion. Just some of those type ones with like a sample flow ride would kind of do with. Like, I got a good feeling some of those type pitches. Just feels definitely ripped out of 2012, 2011, some of those type pitches behind. Just one of those sample type ones that just has a lot of good feel good aspects about it. Feels like a darker kind of Avicii song or something within that relative type pitch. So it's good type tone. Definite 2010 staple. And then Our Way. I don't know if I talked about this one, but this is another good, nice one here. It's like a brooding kind of out in the night fog, kind of 3-6 Mafia haze, kind of get within those aspects. This residential weaving, I'd have to say, good snack run type tune, and good hit to kind of have within those aspects. Definitely some smokish here just within the pitch behind it, some of those type fares. Kind of a good, nice one, kind of have for just like the aspects of just going through like the night mist, some of those type fares within the pitch behind. Just definitely one of the ones. Probably need at least another song like this, but then I'm not complaining too much within that aspect because most of this out or this whole entire album is dynamite within the pitch behind it. So it's just good concept kind of have for that relative type. Just good concept to kind of have for that aspect, just like the blitzing that this album particularly does. But it's just a good extra type fare here to get some of those type ones of just going and getting like Chex Mix and burritos at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Some of those type fares getting like 2 liter wild cherry Pepsi, some of those type pitches. So I'd say so good aspects within those tones. So yeah, that's the concept about this particular album here. So that's the pitch. So this album gets a 10 out of 10. The social score I'll probably give like a 9.75 just in the pitch. I mean, it had 5 singles, the Eminem affiliation, Skylar Gray's on here, B.O.B.'s on here, Busta Rhymes on here, folks like that. Definitely has some good household names. CeeLo Green's on here, good beats, Justice League, Eminem, Louis Resto, some of those type folks that had to say. Other folks like Mr. Porter, Help Out, Boy Wonder, T minus, some of these type folks just in the pitch. A lot of good notable producers. Arab music kind of helps out with some of these type ones. So it's just good pitch that the production here is definitely dynamite. This is one of the best produced albums I can think of out of the 2010s as far as this pitch can happen. This is definitely one of the best produced albums out of the 2010s. Like I was saying, has the Eminem executive production stamp as far as this pitch can happen. Just a good aspect there, kind of get within those tones just about it. Just really nails the particular glitz and glamour. It was just kind of the concept that just the fashion behind saying the fact that probably Royce the 5'9" was the biggest name out on here out of the 4 rappers that were kind of amidst this super group. Is just kind of the pitch that I just feel like the composition that these folks are just a lot more off to the wayside than ones they probably should have been. I mean, they definitely had the dynamite, they had the lyricism, they went for the pop grabs, they had the execution, being able to do it. But I just think the recognition just didn't feel as full bound there. So the composition, it just slagged a little bit. They had the attempt. This album really seemingly didn't sell that well, and that's kind of the reason why they didn't put out Glass House all those years later. But it's kind of a disappointment in that aspect, but they did nail it. It's the concept. It is a good project. This was seemingly kind of ignored. So 9.75 Social has all these things in spades: the night venue type heat, the makeshift songs, the pop rap type moments, the songs for ladies within a relative sense, the horrorcore kind of relapse vibes. It's all that particular stuff packaged in one. Once again, the Eminem affiliation pitches like that. So it's good type tone. But in terms of the future, the unfortunate thing is Slaughterhouse has not really been around since this particular album. They did at least drop a mixtape in 2014 that was supposed to be like an appetizer to Glass House, but it just never came out. So I am going to review at least a few more Slaughterhouse type products. I do want to get to their 2012 mixtape that was like a primer to this particular album. Some good type pitches because it has some secret songs that were released as singles that were not on this album. Good type pitch for that, so we'll have to see about those. But this is a Dynamite album, probably once again a staple out of the 2010s. It has all this staple out of the 2010s. This banner album from that particular time period, that particular fair, more prime era Eminem within those type pitches. Definite classic within those fairs and easy enough to recommend. And like definite like a horrorcore in this overall rap sense and just pretty much this overall banner type project.